From the heartland of America, focused on God, family, and country, the mouthpiece of the Midwest. This is Dale Carter's America.
We're back with another exciting episode of Dale Carter's America. Thanks for following us and checking in on Facebook and all that fun stuff that you do. Kurt's going to tell you how you can take the message that you have stumbled across, if you're brand new to Dale Carter's America, how you can help us spread the word.
Absolutely. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube and Rumble for the video podcast. Make sure you drop a like, drop a comment, drop a subscription, send the link to your friends, and then you can also find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts for the audio-only version, and then follow us on Facebook as well and join in the conversation.
We could not do this podcast without the help of some fantastic sponsors, good friends of mine all, and we always start with Bob Watson. Bob is my State Farm agent. He's been my State Farm agent for 31 years. He's handled about every crisis you can imagine with my family in terms of insurance, especially when those boys started driving cars. Bob knows all about that, and he'll take care of your family as well. Get a rate quote at 816-229-7878. You know the brand name State Farm. You should go with the gold standard for agents in the Kansas City area. In fact, he's licensed in both Missouri and Kansas. That is Mr. Bob Watson, who says bundle your home and car insurance and save even more. Auto, home, life, commercial insurance, pontoon boats. Man, as we're recording the podcast today, I'm wearing a t-shirt today because it's going to be 94 degrees today as we record, which is
like 52 tomorrow.
Yeah, well, that's Kansas City in the spring.
Yeah.
We're going to shatter the old record by about 9 degrees today, and then tomorrow it's going to be chilly again. Just the weather brings different elements to us, and that's why you need the best insurance you can get, especially on that home. And Bob Watson will show you the way on that. 816-229-7878. And again, licensed in both Kansas and Missouri. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Speaking of the t-shirt, we had the video of this guy. Remember him, Jack Hughes, from the Team USA hockey team? That was a lot of fun. And such a proud American. It's such a delight to see a young man who's not protesting, who's not angry, who says, all of our team, we're just proud to be Americans. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. It's not jingoistic. It's not xenophobic, whatever big word you want to use. We're not scared of anybody. We're not jingoistic to the point that we think our feces don't stink, because we know they do. Right?
Here's the picture.
Yeah. So there's the picture. We had the video on and all that. And so
this is like, as a photo and video guy, like there's certain moments where you see a picture. It's like the picture of Trump, you know, like with his ear bleeding and stuff. Like, this is a generational photo right here. It's a fantastic photo. Props to whoever took that. And
I hope he got to a dentist. My dentist, Susan Weidig, would definitely take care of that guy. No question. Okay, so where are we? Local issues is where we've been starting lately, so I want to continue that trend. There are a few things going on here in the Kansas City area that we should talk about. The Missouri Supreme Court, by a narrow margin of 4-3, upheld the Missouri First map. That was the redistricting that happened halfway through the decade. The reactions to it are predictable. And I heard Keatsman on my way here, and he said something very profound, I think. For the longest time, Republicans and conservatives were just happy to be invited to the party. We weren't going to make any waves, despite what the Democrats did. And that all changed when Donald Trump came down the escalator, because Donald Trump said, hey, I'm a street fighter, and we're going to street fight, and we're going to match them fight for fight. And when we went through the whole gerrymandering thing, you know, we've always known that Democrats have done it. And that's not an opinion, that's a fact. Look at the various states where gerrymandering has happened. New England, you will not find one Republican district in New England. Yet Donald Trump got, 40% of the vote in Massachusetts? That just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And then you go to other states like Illinois with that tortured district that starts in East St. Louis and winds its way through the middle of Illinois. And you can see California's done it. So all of these liberal states, Maryland did it. They have gerrymandered to the point where they really don't have a lot of wiggle room. And so the Republicans come in and they say, gosh, is there anything illegal about redistricting in the middle of a decade? And the Missouri Supreme Court said, no, there's not. The U.S. Supreme Court has said, no, there's not, because they took Texas to court over this as well. But the Democrats are saying, oh, this is the end of the world. This is the end of democracy. How could you possibly do this? And there are people out there who believe them, who buy it. And my God, just take a step back and look at the map. And what we've said all along is gerrymandering has happened for centuries, literally centuries in this country. And the Supreme Court has held that as long as it's along political lines, it's constitutional. The caveat is they say, if it's done for racial purposes, that's a problem. So Democrats employ what we've always called play number one in the 5-play playbook, and they'll say, that's racist, because that's the way it would violate the Supreme Court. You got to prove that, and I think they tried to prove that in Missouri because the Republicans looked at this and said, hey, if we split Kansas City 3 different ways, we can probably get another Republican seat. We'll see if it happens in the election or not. I don't know. And the other question is Mayor Q. He's termed out next time. So there's a big rumor out there that he's going to run in the new 4th congressional district against Mark Alford. Mm-hmm. So
here's the map, by the way.
Yeah, and you can see it. The new 5th district. It's got a portion of Kansas City, and then it snakes all the way around, and it's gerrymandered just like Illinois is. Just like all of New England is. The difference is they kept a seat for St. Louis. So the Democrats will get something over in St. Louis. They'll get 1. They've been getting 2 for a long time. So it squeezes another seat. And all they're doing is following the Democrat playbook. And the Democrats are like, oh my God, this is terrible. It's to be continued on this, but it looks like the Missouri 1st map is going to hold up, and we're going to get a new 5th district out of that. Sean Smith has already declared he is going to run, so I would think he would face Emmanuel Cleaver, although I think there are a couple of other Republicans who are going to be in that, so he'll have to get through the primary first. Okay, next up, gender-neutral bathrooms at KCI. This news was breaking, Kurt, as I was flying home from Nashville last week.
Nice.
I pull up my phone, and that's the first thing I see is the story on gender-neutral bathrooms. And I had to pee like you would not believe coming off of that airplane. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I think I'm going to hold it. I don't want to go in the gender-neutral bathroom. I mean, not that they want to look at me, but, you got a pervert in there, and I think they're up to like 65 victims now. And who saw that coming? We talked about that when they were going to go with the gender-neutral bathrooms. Poor women. Women can't catch a break with the Democrat Party.
Do you want to watch the news story?
You can if you want.
Yeah, let's check. Because this is the first time hearing about this, so this will help me. Here it is.
Look at the tennies on that guy.
Bathrooms at KCI after officers arrested a man accusing him of filming more than 60 women in the stalls.
Terry O.C. Ludwig appeared in court today. The court entered a not guilty plea for him. We're showing his mugshot because the prosecutor is looking for anyone who may be a victim.
And while those leaders investigate, others are waiting to make changes and hoping to prevent similar crimes. KSHB 41 Northland reporter Lauren Schwenker amplifies the voices of travelers at KCI and city leaders.
The Platte County Prosecutor's Office is looking for possible victims that could have been recorded here at the KCI airport in the gender-neutral restroom. I talked to one city councilman who says the legislation around gender-neutral restrooms needs to be changed after this incident.
Most disgusting thing that you can imagine in violating someone's privacy.
Investigators say 66 women were filmed by this man, Terry O.C. Ludwig, a now former airport employee. He worked at one of the restaurants. Travelers told me they felt uneasy about the incidents.
I would feel if I got filmed violated. It's wrong.
The prosecutor's office wants travelers who use the gender-neutral restrooms in Concourse A between January and March to come forward. It could help strengthen their case.
They'll ask you what you experienced, when it was. The timing is going to be important.
KCMO City Councilman Nathan Willett represents the Northland. He wants to make an immediate change at this Thursday's council meeting.
We can make a quick fix right now. We can change those 24 stalls to women-only stalls, and then maybe you can do some individual/family restrooms with the rest of them.
The all gender-neutral restrooms opened when the new terminal did 3 years ago. Seattle is the only other U.S. airport with these type of gender-neutral bathrooms. Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas's office says he will, quote, reserve his outrage for the criminal.
We'll review everything we can to ensure that people are safe, but we will treat this as it needs to be at first, a criminal investigation.
I'm Northland reporter Lauren Schwenker, KSHB 41 News.
Well, at least the guy's a former airport employee and not there now. I mean, you know, like I was saying, poor women, they can't catch a break with the Democrat Party. You got this going on. We saw this coming, you know, and when I started going in there, I think about this. Men are gross. Men are pigs, right? You know, we pee on the floor. You know, we
speak for yourself.
Well, you know, I think most men have probably peed on the floor at some point. I mean, you know, it's an aim sort of a thing, right?
Yeah.
And I feel bad for women because they have to follow these disgusting guys. And now you got this pervert going around. He's filming the people. This is the same party that wants women to look at a guy who says he's a woman and say, that's okay. You can play on the team. Mm-hmm. That's the party. And they used to be the party of women. What happened? Mm-hmm. They don't.
And these bathrooms, like in the airport, they're relatively open. You know what I mean? Like it says gender neutral, but it's just like individual stalls, and it's like there's no like closed door or anything like that.
No, there's a closed door.
No, I mean in the stalls there's a closed door, but I mean to get in you just walk. It's like one of the ones where you just walk through a little hallway. But my point is that there are other bathrooms that are doing this where it is like way more private, and it's like actually even more of an opportunity for creeps, I think. And then the other angle is like, okay, you spend all this money building the airport, you spend all this money on the gender neutral bathrooms, this inevitably happens, something like this inevitably happens, and now you have to spend more money to undo that. Now they're going to have to, if this passes, they're going to have to go in and reconstruct the bathrooms, you know, and like how much is that going to cost us?
Yeah. Well, and you know, moving to the next thing, because when you saw Quentin Lucas there on screen, he was standing in front of a podium that had the vote yes for the 1% earnings tax. So it dovetails nicely into what I want to talk about next. And that is that the 1% earnings tax is on the ballot again. Happens every 5 years. It occurred to me that we haven't talked about this on the podcast. Has it been up for renewal while we've been doing the podcast? If so, it had to be early on.
2021, yeah. So it would have been, this is like, we're 5 years in, so it would have been early 2021.
Yeah, so I probably talked about it because I bitch about it every time that it comes up. I've lived here for 31 years, and every 5 years this has to be voted on. And again, I don't get to vote on it because I don't live in Kansas City. I work there, so they reach into my paycheck and they claw out 1% of what I make. And that's not enough, because if I have talent fees or something like that, I have to figure out what 1% of all that is that I made while working in Kansas City and give that to the city. It's taxation without representation, and I just hate it because the city so mismanages money, and anybody who can get out of the city is getting out of the city because they don't feel safe. The schools are terrible, the infrastructure is terrible, and it's governed by idiots who don't know how to manage money, which is why they're so far behind. So I'm always going to be rooting against this thing. I think this year might actually be the year that it fails. I think even in the city, people are like, what are you doing with this money?
Yeah. Well, I think there's been more awareness brought to it over the past couple of years, you know, where that people are actually paying more attention now.
Well, and since we've been doing the podcast, not that we want to take any credit for anything, but we were really against the tax for the Chiefs and the Royals, and nothing to do with the Chiefs or the Royals. It was like starve Jackson County of money, and it failed. Mm-hmm. So that's the same thing here. Let's starve them of money, make them work harder, make them work smarter. I was thinking about what scenario I might consider it, and I thought about this too. It would fail in a heartbeat. But could you imagine if they allowed everyone to vote for it who is affected by it? Mm-hmm. Right? Everybody in the outlying areas, because that's where the most money is coming from. That was the strategy all along. Kansas City and St. Louis had this strategy. They had white flight going on. People were trying to get to the suburbs because the cities were what they are, and now they're even worse. And it's like, oh, well, here's what we could do. If you want to live out here but work in here, we'll take part of your pay.
Yeah. I mean, it's the equivalent of putting welfare up to a vote and only allowing the recipients of welfare to vote on whether to continue the welfare.
Ding.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, this is one of the reasons that I'm running for the county legislature. I want to get in there, and I'm going to meet with one of the folks who's running for one of the at-large seats. She is like a CPA. She's going to dig into the budget, and we're going to spend some time this weekend looking at the budget because I'm really interested, because I see money flowing east to west, definitely not west to east. Okay, so when you pay your property tax on this palatial estate here, and I pay property taxes on mine, that money, the Jackson County portion of it, goes downtown. Where does it end up?
Mm-hmm. In the city.
In the city.
Yeah.
Right? So the city's getting the earnings tax. They're getting all this property tax revenue coming from the county, which most of Kansas City is in Jackson County. I want to see how much of that's happening, and I want to put an end to it. I want to make sure that Eastern Jackson County gets its money's worth, and that we're really scouring down here with transparency and finding out what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, they get the earnings tax, they get the assessment, the property tax, and they control assessment. And they're still complaining about not having enough money.
Right.
So that's a major problem.
Well, that's one of the reasons that I'm going to run. Before I got involved in all of this and was talked into running for this seat on the legislature, you know that we were really strong on getting the eastern suburbs out of Jackson County and forming our own county. That is not dead. When I've talked to voters out there, and I've been shaking hands and kissing babies a lot, the first question I get is, where are we at on separating from these people? Because it's still alive, and I think that it's got some merit behind it, especially if I get in there and 4 years later I'm still banging my head against the wall, because Sean Smith called me yesterday and he gave me an interesting stat. 75% of the elected officials in Jackson County are Democrats. And he said years ago that made a lot of sense because 75% of the population of Jackson County was in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. Now it's not. He said it's like 48% or something of the population is in Kansas City, but they still control 75% of the elected positions.
Right.
So that's a problem. And if we can't get along, we got to stop giving them our money. And Mike Steinmeier is the guy down in Jeff City who's fighting that battle. They had a hearing yesterday where he took a lot of fire on this. It's an interesting coalition of people who are against this at the state level. Of course, it's Kansas City and St. Louis, right? Mm-hmm. But it's also Republicans in the boot heel. They're like, what do we care? We don't care.
Yeah.
It's a local issue.
Right.
You guys figure it out. Suburban residents have had enough, and again, we're going to try and flip the script down there, get some Republicans. I don't want to be the only Republican there. Sean Smith is going on to run for Congress. It's going to be a tough fight. It's been a tough fight for him being the only real Republican on the legislature. I don't want to be the only Republican there because I will be banging my head against the wall. Mm-hmm. I want some help there, and I want to dig into this. And if it's not going well, I'm going to be on the bandwagon for getting the hell out of there. So help me out. Help the Republicans who are running for Jackson County. Help us all make a difference. And my campaign website, which you can find easily, is dalecarter.us. And we're still in the collection phase. I want to get past the April elections, and then we're going to be out doing door-to-door, doing some events and meeting folks. And you'll see my advertisements out there. But this is the collection phase. So if you want to help out, we appreciate it. dalecarter.us. No donation is too small. We just want to get a big list of people who want to help out.
Or too big.
Or too big. He has Max Motors humming here. They're in the outlying areas, Richmond, Clinton, Butler, Nevada. They sell American-made vehicles for Americans. Max Ford, Max Chrysler, Max Chevy GMC, Max Chrysler. Small town dealership, low overhead, and they beat the big city dealerships every time. He's trying to set up, it's going to be interesting. We're going to have him on here in a little bit. He's setting up the Amazon of car dealers. I've never met a car dealer who will do this. So what you can do right now is go to maxmotors.com. Find the car that you want. You got the website pulled up there. If you found a car that you wanted, that dealership would drive it to your front door, do the deal there, and you don't have to go to the dealership. That's an incredible way to look at it. Easiest place to buy your next car. Small town American values. Mark Muller is one of us. God, family, and country. And if you don't buy from Max, which we encourage you to do, Mark encourages you to buy American. Then when you get that vehicle, you got to keep it in shape. It's just like you are, right? As you get older, as you age, you need to have some maintenance done on your body. I'm not talking about Botox here. I'm talking about, you got to get a physical. You got high blood pressure. We got to get that taken care of. Are you overweight? We got to get that taken care of. Whenever you get older, just like your car, you're going to need some maintenance on your body. The car needs maintenance as well. And my friend Tim Porter will take care of you like you've never been taken care of. You got to find somebody that you trust to work on your cars. And especially if you're like me and you don't really know the intricacies of fixing your car, Tim Porter and the guys at Christian Brothers Automotive will take care of you. It's a faith-based organization. They're all over town, independently owned. Tim is a dear friend of mine, and his location is Independence, 19600 East 40 Highway. You can find the location nearest to you at christianbrothersauto.com, but make sure if you do that you tell them you heard about it here on Dale Carter's America. When you take those vehicles in, 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on the repair, whichever benefits you most. You need a ride? They'll give you a ride. They work on every vehicle that you can imagine, including hybrids and electric vehicles. Gas prices are going up. There's interest again in the electric vehicles. Start with an appointment for your car. Get the oil changed, get the tires rotated, the filters and all that. 816-795-6811. That's the direct line to Tim Porter's Christian Brothers in Independence. 816-795-6811. And again, they're on the web at christianbrothersauto.com. So the war in Iran wages on, and gosh, who do you believe in all this, right? Trump's saying they want to end it. Iran's saying we're not talking to them. Mm-hmm. I don't know. We're in it though, and you can't be like half pregnant. What's the end game on this thing? If let's say we stop today, all right, Iran rebuilds. 2 years down the road, we're going to have another president, and this stuff all starts again. And Iran has made it clear that out of this, if we stop today, they're taking the Strait of Hormuz, and they're going to charge ships to go through it. They're going to make it a toll position.
If we stop now, it would be worse than when we started.
I know. That's the whole thing. You could have the debate about whether we should have done it or not. That's done. Now, what do we do? Because we're in it, and there's a chance that our position will be worse coming out of this if the job is not finished.
Well, what is the job? I mean, what's the goal?
I think the goal is regime change.
Right. Is that clear though? And if so, how does that happen?
Well, they're killing Ayatollahs. It's not a long-term job. I wouldn't get the 401k if I were the new Ayatollah.
Yeah,
in
but
Iran.
I mean, they have guys lined up for days. So.
They may.
He's going to keep killing the leader indefinitely?
I have no idea. I know that there are smart people there who want their country back, who want to see fewer people executed on the courthouse square there for being gay or being a woman or criticizing the regime or things like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are sane people there. That is a very intelligent country that's been repressed ever since 1979. When they went into our embassy and the Ayatollah took over, it was a very forward-thinking country at that point. And now it's a very backward-thinking country. And the folks in the neighborhood, the Arab states, they want it cleaned up too. So ultimately, regime change, I think, is going to have to happen, or else we're going to have to go back there again. This is all going to come back, and it'll just be like it's been for the last 47 years.
Yeah, I mean, it brings up the point that I was making before of, you have been talking about the War Powers Act, and it's like, okay, well, what is included in the War Powers Act, and how far does that extend? Because it's 60 days, 90 days, something like
90
that.
days.
So, I mean, are we going to have regime change in 90 days? It's going to require most likely boots on the ground in order to accomplish that, which
he's sending the 82nd Airborne over.
They campaigned against. I mean, right now we're dealing with this whole thing in the Strait of Hormuz where they're going to have to put boots on the ground on that island in the Strait of Hormuz
I agree.
to take over the oil thing. And it's like, well, it's going to be longer than 90 days at this point. I mean, there's just no getting around that. Either that or they back out, and it's worse than when we got in. So
it's not good.
Yeah. And like even I wish I had brought this up at the time, and it's a question because I legitimately don't know. I'm asking you because you seem to know more about this than I do. But like, what does the War Powers Act cover in terms of actions? Like, because not all actions are the same, right? Would you say that it covers regime change? Would you say that it covers only like limited campaigns?
I would say it's very vague. Number one, it's very vague. I mean, it has some day restrictions in it, but remember, the War Powers Act is a fairly new thing. I mean, it came out of Vietnam and Korea because we lost 50,000 soldiers in Vietnam. For what? You know, no one can tell us what we got out of Vietnam other than a lot of body bags and names on a granite wall in D.C. And we've also had presidents like Barack Obama who said, I'm not constricted by the War Powers Act.
Right, but we're not doing like whataboutism. We're not talking about other presidents. I'm just talking about the actual thing itself. So
I'm telling you it's vague. I mean, you're
right, but I mean, there's going to have to be a limit somewhere, right?
Right.
Because like, theoretically, let's take it to its extreme. Like, let's say you had a president and their goal was to just go to a country and kill as many civilians as possible, like uninhibited, you know.
I think that would be grounds for impeachment.
Well, they couldn't do that and then cite the War Powers Act of like having unilateral authority to do whatever they want, right?
Right. I mean, there are sanctions along the way, and I like to be constitutional. I like to look at the book and say, okay, what are the rules here? So, I mean, you cite something that I think is unlikely no matter who's in the White House, but let's say they are. I mean, that is definitely grounds for impeachment. The Democrats...
Well, they did kill civilians. They bombed a school.
Okay. Yeah. But you're saying indiscriminately killed civilians on purpose.
Sure.
Right. But again, Democrats have cheapened the impeachment process to the point where it really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But this is an impeachable thing if a president did something like that.
Right.
That's not what's happening here anyway. And I think and that's why I don't like to get too specific about this, because the news changes very rapidly, might change by the time we're done with this today. I think we could just find agreement here that it's a mess right now, and getting out now and just saying, okay, that's it, we're done, makes it worse.
It does, but it also proves that we shouldn't have done it in the first place. And I mean, I think, you know, your point of, well, we're in it now, and so like it is what it is. I mean, not that that's exactly what you said, but like it's important to have that conversation, because I mean, the same thing happened in Iraq and Syria and Libya, and that's what I was talking about at the time. And now, like, it's only been 4 weeks, and now it's like already totally screwed up. So, we should at least learn the lessons of history and not repeat them.
It's been 4 weeks, and as I told you the first time we talked about this, history will be the judge, and it won't be a history from 4 weeks. It's going to be a history from 4 years or 50 years or something like that, looking back. I mean, as we look back, Germany never attacked us. We got into World War II. Do you think, given the vast history, that was probably a good thing that we went over and did what we did?
It's debatable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, we could have the debate about Korea and Vietnam and say, okay, that was probably a bad idea. Closer in, we could look at Iraq and say that was probably a bad idea. Afghanistan, you know, we had our hair on fire after 9/11 and we just wanted to kill somebody. And so we went over to Iraq or Afghanistan, and we were there forever. So it's going to be looked at backward through the lens of history, but we got to let it play out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I mean, it's not like we have any control over the situation. We're
exactly.
Just random people.
Well, and Joe Kent certainly didn't have any control over it. He is the former director of counterterrorism, staunch Trump supporter. He resigned, saying Iran posed no imminent threat to the U.S., and we were pushed into this by Israel, which I think is exactly what you would say, right? And As he resigned, it also came to light he's been under FBI investigation for allegedly leaking classified information. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, says that Joe Kent was not involved in any of the planning, had no idea what was going on behind the scenes, and the Gang of Eight, which includes Republicans and Democrats, were all briefed. And even though the Democrats are out there saying what they're saying, they were in the briefing and they knew whatever was going on. And again, through the lens of history, this will all come to light down here. But Joe Kent was certainly saying that they pose no imminent threat.
Yeah, and I mean, it's convenient for him to say that and resign, and then, immediately, like, the next day there's a story out trying to discredit him. I mean, that's very... I'm not saying, like, he's infallible or anything like that, but it's very convenient that would happen in that order.
Well, I'm sure the No Kings rally will definitely be anti-war, anti-ICE, anti-SAVE Act. Essentially anything that Trump is for, they are against, which is going to take us to our next segment. But first, we want to tell you about Clay Como Shooters. They are the folks who are going to help you defend your turf. If we've bastardized the stand your ground law in the state of Missouri to say that you could show up at any big event, start shooting up the place, and say, well, somebody shot at me first.
Yeah.
That seems to be the standard
They
now,
started
right?
it.
They started it. You at least ought to be able to defend your home. I think that's what Stand Your Ground is about anyway. And the folks at Clay Como Shooters will help you get that done. They're at 69 Highway in Clay Como. They're right between I-35 and I-435 over by Worlds of Fun. Full-service firearms dealer. They buy guns. They've got experienced trainers with law enforcement background. They've got an indoor shooting range that we've used and you can use. Affordable pricing, not a big box store. It's just a neighborhood business that is looking out for the community. What we say is protect yourself and your family. Find the right firearm to protect yourself and get trained on it. And I think Herb and the guys, Shane and all the guys there at Clay Como Shooters would probably advise you, because they have law enforcement background, they will tell you that going to a big party like a Super Bowl rally or whatever and shooting indiscriminately and killing people is not Missouri Stand Your Ground. They will tell you exactly what you can do and how you should react and act, as a matter of fact. 816-452-4867 for Clay Como Shooters. Medicare Simplified KC. That's for everybody in their 60s. Ought to be getting your attention. The red light on the dashboard, at least the yellow light, ought to be going off as you're approaching 65. You want to find out what Medicare is all about. I was talking to a friend of mine in Nashville who is like in his mid-60s. He's like 66 now, and he's still working, so he's put this on the back burner. And I said, no, you got to call Kirk Doris, and you got to find out what Medicare means to you. Anybody who is 65 who hasn't had this conversation yet, please call Kirk Doris, 816-701-6661. Now you think, well, you're talking to a guy in Nashville. Kirk Doris is in Kansas City. Medicare is a federal program, and it's run by the federal government, so you know it's a mess to begin with. Which plan, which part, which supplement do you need? Kirk Doris will help you navigate that water, and you won't pay him a dime. Did you hear that part? You won't pay him a dime. He's paid by the insurance companies to find the right supplement to go with your Medicare. So MedicareSimplifiedKC.com is the website. You can reach him at his office at 816-701-6661. Know what you're getting into with Medicare. Kirk Doris is going to help you get that done. Tribalism. This is a kind of a new theme that I want to explore. We're going to have guests on in the coming weeks and months, and we're going to talk about this. And we've talked about it a little bit on the podcast. And right now you're seeing probably the most defining character in political history in this country in terms of, you're either for him or against him. You would agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely a lightning rod. And people are like waiting to find out what Donald Trump is for or against so they can set their barometer on the other side. And it has not always been like that. I will tell you that in my early voting days, my procedure when I would vote, let's say we had a Democrat congressman, and I would say, is he doing a good job? Is he, reacting to his constituents? Is he a good guy, good gal, whatever? I would reelect them. If they weren't doing anything that I thought was bad, I'd reelect them. Same thing with Republicans. That's kind of how I did it in the early days. It does not happen that way anymore. Now it's like you got an R, you got a D, that's the way I'm going. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, when I do door-to-door, it was interesting when I ran for city council back in the day because those are not partisan positions. You don't put a R or a D on the ballot. You just run. And I would have people ask me at the door, are you a Republican or Democrat? And I would try and, massage
it's nonpartisan.
It's a nonpartisan election and all that, because there were people that are like, you're a Republican? Get off my porch. You're a Democrat? Get off my porch. You don't even want to hear from people like that anymore. And Trump has had a steroid effect on this. Whatever he's for, Democrats are automatically against. Even if they have to flip when Trump flips. I want to go through some examples on this. TSA is currently, as we record this, not being funded. And I think that all of us can agree, if you take Trump out of the equation, thank you, that's a disaster. We should fund TSA, right?
I don't know.
You don't think we should?
I think TSA is kind of a joke, personally, but...
Have you flown lately?
Yeah. Not like within the past couple of weeks.
Have you flown to Atlanta? I mean, because of how we've set up security, to get on an airplane. And I get where you're talking about. You can make an argument that TSA hasn't really helped at all. It's just a speed bump that you have to go through to get on the damn airplane to get where you're going to go. But because that speed bump exists and we're not paying them and they're quitting left and right, and who could blame them for that, it's turned into a disaster. 4 to 5 hour wait times at Atlanta, which has turned into the busiest airport in the country. Democrats have blocked Homeland Security to get changes at ICE. They've used the filibuster. We've talked about that. Republicans came at it from a different angle to carve ICE out of DHS funding, which Democrats said they wanted. They said they'd go along with that. And now they're blocking that. They're moving the goalposts, right? And why are they doing it? They're not doing it for passenger safety or passenger convenience. They're doing it for politics. Anything that they're doing right now has their eye on the midterm election, and all they care about is having a blue wave in November so they can impeach Donald Trump. That's all they care about. And if they tell you anything else, they are lying to your face. We have a 2-week recess coming up, which includes Easter. Can you imagine the shit show that's going to be, right? I mean, I'm flying to Atlanta. I'm going to go see my son Jonathan in Atlanta. Bought his first house. I'm very proud of him. He's my youngest son, and he lives in Atlanta, so I have no choice. Flying to Atlanta. I think Kansas City will be fine. I don't know if you knew this or not, but Kansas City is one of a couple of airports in the country that has private TSA. They're privately funded.
The people that actually do the security at the airport?
They're contract employees of the airport. And there's only a couple of airports
I didn't know that was even allowed.
It is allowed. I guess San Francisco and Kansas City are the two places that are doing that. There may be others, but I'm aware of San Francisco and Kansas City. Because when I went to Nashville last week, I went with a full heart, and I was like waving at these people and thanking them for showing up despite everything that's going on, right? And I get to the final guy who goes through my bag and throws away my deodorant can because I forgot you can't take that on the flight.
Yeah.
He's like, you can run it out to your car if you want. Seriously? I'm not doing that. So anyway, I thanked him, and he goes, well, we're not really TSA. We're funded by a contract through the airport. So we're all getting paid. And I'm like, well, I take it all back. Screw you. Give me my damn deodorant back. Yeah. But that's not going to be the case when I go through Atlanta. So Atlanta is going to be fun, and the Senate, and actually the Congress, is going to take a 2-week recess. Can't we all just use a little common sense here and say, let's just fund this, move on?
I mean, for the short term, yeah, I think that's probably what needs to happen.
Well, the long term, I give up on. I have railed forever about the debt. And people have told me, like, some of our liberal friends, whoa, you get Trump in there, you won't care anything about the debt. I still care about it, but nobody else does.
Right.
Because it just continues to mushroom. Your grandkids are going to have to pay the bill at some point. Somebody's got to pay the bill. But you know what? You don't care. I don't care. Fund this TSA thing. Get our airports moving again. All right.
I mean, maybe this could be a catalyst for us to do something about TSA, because the whole thing is just ridiculous. I mean, it's like they're not stopping really anything. I mean,
I've seen the tests on that.
I don't want to say like too much, but like I did a short stint in security, quote unquote, which is really not, but at Arrowhead. And the same thing with TSA. From personal experience, I've never done this, but I'm just saying, I know for a fact, like if you wanted to bring a gun or a knife or something onto an airplane, you could figure out a way to do it, you know. And like, so what are they actually stopping? Like it's just for show, and these people are incompetent. I'm sorry, but they're like, it slows everything down. They're not friendly. They're, you know, for the most part, there's exceptions, of course.
Yeah.
But.
Well, they did snag my deodorant can, so you're not going to use that deodorant on the plane. That's for sure. So Trump added ICE agents to help out of the airports. Let's see how that's working out.
All right.
Follows. We've seen that, and it is highly likely the airports will be no exception. No one trusts that ICE is going to make things better.
Once again, ICE agents have arrived here in Philadelphia, but I do want to point out, this is an empty line right now. We are standing in the middle where travelers come to check in for TSA. Yesterday, this was all the way back to the garage. So good news today, lines aren't too bad. We're live from PHL. Brianna Gallagher, Channel 6, Action.
What would be your message today to the TSA agents who have been staying home in recent days amid this impasse?
Well, some of them are needing money, you know, because the Democrats cut off their money. I blame the Democrats more than anything else. But some of them, you know, they didn't get paid because they're not funded by the Democrats. This is a Democrat problem. In fact, I actually said to the Senate, why would you say this is a Democrat problem? I think the polls are showing it's a Democrat problem. And they'll do anything actually to hurt our country so they can try and win the midterms.
Exactly. That's what I've been saying. So
you're all staying home. You need to get back to work. Get back to filling up people, right? That's what we do.
Move on to the SAVE Act, because again, common sense, and that's what we try and rely on here is common sense. Common sense would say that we should only let American citizens who are eligible vote. Trump's for it. So Democrats are using everything in their arsenal to block it. Here's an interesting video that debunks Chuck Schumer.
Has, I guess, been at it again.
Well, let me guess, lying?
It's to the point of utter comedy. He had recently said that this SAVE Act was one of the worst things that happened, but PBS of all places has debunked him.
Really?
So PBS is not really known for its hard-hitting stories, but they took their shot at Chuck Schumer's Save America stance. First thing first, it says he was saying Americans will have to re-register to vote. Americans are not being forced to re-register to vote. That claim is false. What the bill actually does is simple. It says that you're registering and updating your registration, and you should provide a U.S. citizen ID, passport, birth certificate, basic documentation, the same kind of proof you need for countless other things in daily life. Schumer says this will force people to show up in person, which is not exactly true. The bill requires proof, not a line out the door, but yes, it puts an end to the honor system of walking in and not letting anybody know who you are. Then there's the claim that millions will be blocked from voting, and that's a ridiculous stretch. The bill includes alternative verification options. The expectations here are just straightforward. Voting is a fundamental right, and with that responsibility comes the need to verify your eligibility. The legislation also sets the national voter ID standard, including for mail-in voting, bringing consistency to the system that currently has a bunch of patchwork rules. On the core issue, non-citizen voting, critics say it's rare. Maybe so. I don't buy that, but the bill is about reacting after the fact, and it's about preventing the vulnerabilities we've seen beforehand, and they keep getting worse and worse. The bottom line, this rule is really about election integrity, clear rules, verified voters, uniform standards. All the times we heard about Trump was the one cheating the election, right? He's the, You imagine liberals want this more than anyone, knowing, Trump is just a grifter. So, again, I'd like to just talk about Schumer just being the ultimate clown. But
the ultimate clown. The whole reason for that video is because PBS was fact-checking Chuck Schumer. Now, if you look, this doesn't affect Missouri. It doesn't affect Kansas because we're already registered to vote. And when we go vote in Missouri on April 7th in the local election, they're going to ask for our driver's license.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Look at the states where they don't do that. And again, California has made it illegal for you to even ask for ID. What is their rationale behind that?
To let more illegal immigrants vote.
Well, illegal immigrants know that they're not allowed to vote. That's what Maisie out in Hawaii said. Illegals wouldn't do that because they know it's illegal.
They would never break the law, would they?
Hello. I mean, we've never had any reports of any fraud in California. Well, why the hell would you?
Those illegal immigrants, they would never break the law, would they?
You just go in and say, hey, I'm Bob Smith. They probably got a list somewhere like who all died in the last year. Okay, I'm Bob Smith. Yep, here's your ballot. Go ahead and vote. We don't need any ID.
Bob Smith is that's a safe bet there. There's going to be a Bob Smith you can get.
Didn't want anybody yelling at me, calling me racist or whatever.
No, I'm just saying, if you don't have an ID, you go and you say you're Bob Smith, there's bound to be a Bob Smith. It's a common name.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
So, why would we want to have integrity in our elections? I can't imagine that. So I talked a little bit about Kansas City having private airport security there for TSA. Now, what my tribe says, and I think Kurt would be in my tribe on this, anything the private sector can do better, more efficiently, should be done by the private sector. But if I played into this, well, what does this guy think? Because whatever he thinks, I got to be on the other side of it. Can you imagine a Democrat being for that and me flipping sides because a Democrat suggested it? That's what we're talking about with tribalism. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get into that in the coming weeks and days. Can we all agree that we shouldn't have illegals here who have further violated our laws? I think we can, right?
Most people, yeah.
Clinton and Obama were on board with it. We've played videos where Bill Clinton was very strong on the border. We've talked about the fact that Barack Obama deported millions of people. Trump, I think, is probably still in the thousands, right?
It's been like 215, 230,000 in the first year.
It's definitely not millions.
Like yep.
It's not the millions that Barack Obama did. They were both on board for that, and they got standing O's at State of the Union speeches. Trump ran on reversing Biden's dangerous open border policy, and he won another term, I would say, based in large part on that. He's been foiled by sanctuary cities like Chicago. And I don't know if you've seen this news, but a Loyola student was gunned down by an illegal who not only got into the country illegally, he then committed a felony, and they released him back into the center of the country. Okay? So he kills this woman in Chicago. Here is what a Chicago alderwoman said about that.
All the time, right? And they go out on the pier, they walk around. So the kids were out doing normal things people do in the neighborhood. And it sounds like this might have been a wrong place, wrong time, running into a person who had a gun. They might have startled this person at the end of the pier unintentionally. But that's all the time, right? And they go out on the pier, they walk around. So the kids...
Just going to say that again because that's a short clip. But you heard that right. She's on the side of the illegal.
Yeah.
And they've already chastised the reporting in Chicago to take illegal out of it and just call him a man from whatever town that he's poaching.
Well, you speak of tribalism. I mean, the ultimate tribalism is in favor of people like illegal immigrants and, the quote unquote marginalized communities. They'll defend them any way they can. I mean, if this was reversed, I mean, it's obvious to say this, it's very low-hanging fruit, but if it was reversed, if it was a white guy killing like an illegal woman or like Hispanic woman or something like that, you'd know her name, she'd be all over the news.
Exactly.
Everyone would be talking about it. This is literally the first I'm hearing of it. Not that I'm like plugged into the news all day or anything,
right?
But
100%. A beautiful young lady who's a Loyola student was killed at the same place that J.B. Pritzker was quote unquote jogging through, bragging about how safe Chicago is. Can you imagine if this happened in Jackson County, right? I mean, maybe that's the new defense for stand your ground. I was startled.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm illegal. Yes, I've committed a felony. Is the gun can't even be legal. She was completely unarmed. She was a student. Well, she's in the wrong place at the wrong time. Plus, I was standing my ground. Mm-hmm. And they'll defend that in Chicago. Yep. That is absolutely crazy. Next subject, prisons. We finally got the Jackson County Jail open. Did you hear that?
Nope.
Yep, happened. Apparently great strides made for inmate comfort, because that's exactly what we think about when we think about putting people in jail. This has always been kind of a left-right issue. The right tends to believe that prison should be rougher, right? It should be bad. I still remember to this day when my stepdad was a policeman. I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and he thought he would make a statement for my brother and me, and he took us downtown and showed us the drunk tank and showed us the people who were in jail. And you know what? From the time I was 8 or 9 years old, I have never had a desire to be in jail. Mm-hmm. I just don't want to be there. We think it should be rougher. The left always seems to be on the side of the criminal. Emanuel Cleaver has introduced a bill in the House, I'm not making this up, to make sure that criminals get paid minimum wage while they're in prison.
Yep.
I want that to sink in for a second. To also be clear, Cleaver has voted against TSA being paid. He voted against the SAVE Act to secure our elections, but he'd like prisoners to be paid minimum wage.
It's all about priorities.
So as we start the discussion on tribalism, I want you to think about what you believe. Don't wait for Trump or anybody else to dictate what you believe based on where they stand in that moment. I mean, Kurt, you've been consistent on your beliefs. You're disappointed by Trump on several levels, even though you were for him before, but you have your principles and you've stuck to them. And I respect that. I have called out Trump when I have disagreed with him. On the Facebook page, he put out the Robert Mueller tweet, and I said that was beneath the office of the president. Mm-hmm. You know, you may feel that way, and I know there are people on the right and commentators on the right who are defending Trump. It's like, you have no idea what they put him through, blah, 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 blah. He should be able to say whatever he wants. He's still the president of the United States. I think things he has done have been beneath the office. The pictures outside the Oval Office, the auto pen, the descriptions he wrote about all the presidents, and he's trashing all the Democrats. I mean, that's beneath the office of the presidency. And I believe that, and I'm sticking to my guns, regardless of what other Republicans might think about me for saying that. And I don't think you care what other people think, you know, about what you think about the war.
No, and it's more than just the war. I mean, I'd like to say something about that, because it's the reason I supported him is because what he campaigned on, you know, in 2016, 2020, and in 2024. And in 24, I was a little bit more reluctant, but it's proven true that, like, most of the things, especially this last time around, that he campaigned on, no new wars. We have a new war in Iran. Solve Ukraine war on day one. It's still going on. Golden age of economic growth. Hasn't happened. Build a wall. Mexico's going to pay for it. Hasn't happened. Mass deportations. Hasn't happened. So it's like, if you can't objectively, as an American, as a voter, just look at things that were promised and how things are happening and make an assessment based on that, then you're just going to be taken advantage of continuously. The next guy's going to come in 2028. They're going to make the same promises, and you're going to vote for them again because they have an R next to their name or whatever. Or they say, make a good speech, you know, the State of the Union. Oh, it's based. It's so good. Trump's back. It's like you're cattle, you're sheep. You're just being herded around, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, we have a saying in radio where when we try to do things for clients, we try to under promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
Trump is he's the opposite.
Right.
He overpromises on everything.
Correct.
So there's no way he can't underdeliver.
Right.
I mean, you just have to.
Well, politics, the name of the game of politics is overpromising, because that's all you have to do.
Yeah.
All you have to do is overpromise and say the right thing on day one. I'm going to X, Y, Z. And then you win the election And then once you get in, you don't do that. And then nobody holds you accountable. They make excuses for you. Your base makes excuses for you. And then come the next time around, you get to say, well, I'm better than the Democrat and I'm going to do this, this, and that. And then it's just the same cycle repeats over and over again.
Essence of tribalism. So vote carefully. I still wouldn't change my vote. There's no way I was going to vote for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know if I would have voted for Kamala, but if I knew things were going to turn out the way that they have so far, maybe things will change, but I might have withheld my vote or written in somebody else or something. I mean, it's been a total disappointment in my opinion, but I don't regret, what I did, but yeah, it hasn't turned out well.
The ultimate test of tribalism, would you vote for a Democrat if they agreed with you?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And, I might not have said that a year, 3 years ago. And there was actually a thing this week that I saw. I don't know if you saw this, but AOC had a tweet that went viral on X. And she was talking about, I'm not going to pull it up because I'm talking, but she was talking about a casino in New York. They're trying to build some big new state-funded casino. They're using bonds or taxpayer money or whatever. And she came out in opposition to it and said, well, we don't want gambling in our city and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I totally agreed, so it's we can actually be objective here. I mean, is she wrong on other things? Of course, but that was a W for her.
I just wonder what, life is going to be like in a post-Trump world. We will get there because I can tell you that I stick to the Constitution and I believe in the Constitution. And if for whatever reason he said, I found a loophole here and I'm going to run for a third term, I would be completely against that. I'll say that on the record right now. Ain't going to happen. You will not get my support because I believe in the Constitution and I follow the guidelines. I wish everybody else did.
I mean, if I'm being honest, if he was actually doing a bang up job, if he was an A+ president and he found a loophole and ran for a third term, I would vote for him for a third term. But that's just not the case.
I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. Funhouse Pizza in Lee Summit and Blue Springs. Jim Dingman has been with us for a while, and Jim and I were talking about when we might get there in the spring. So look for us to head to Lee Summit to do a live version of the podcast. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm already talking to several guests who might be on that version of the podcast. It's definitely going to be something you'll want to be at. If for no other reason, the pizza is amazing. The drinks are really cold. Funhouse Pizza is the place you want to have your Little League meeting, your birthday party, anniversary party, anything that you're celebrating. It goes better with Funhouse Pizza. funhousepizza.com. Just show up and have dinner. They're on 7 Highway in Blue Springs, 50 Highway in Lee Summit. They got all the games. They got video games. They got pinball. They got rides. And what really holds it all together, what ties it all together is just how great the pizza is. If you like your toppings piled incredibly high, you are going to love Funhouse Pizza. In the market for a new house, once we get this war thing settled, I think the economy is going to turn around. The test for that is when Donald Trump went on and he said, I think it's going to wrap up pretty quick because they want it to be over. The Dow shot up 1,000 points on that news. 1,000 points. This market is like you're holding the reins back on a horse that wants to run and is looking for an excuse to run.
Well, it's either that or the market is fake and it's totally arbitrary, so that's also possible.
Okay. I'm going to go with A, you go with B. And if you need to get a new house going here, like my son just bought his first time home in Atlanta, and I'm so proud of him for doing that. If you've got somebody in your family who's moving from the apartment life into their first house, Michael Schroer can get that done. We've shown so many slides of first-time homes that he has sold. He's kind of an expert at that. Or when you start having kids, you need more bedrooms, you need a bigger house. Michael can take care of that as well. When the kids are gone off to college, you want to downsize. Again, Michael Schroer is your man. And if you got a piece of land you want to build on, he can get that done too. He can sell your house and find your next house. Michael Schroer, Schroer. He's with RE/MAX Elite in Lee's Summit. The office number where they can find him is 816-373-8400. You want the sneak inside number? I got that too. 816-520-9345. 42, and his email address, michaelschroer56@gmail.com, SCHROER. That's michaelschroer56@gmail.com. Good guy. Speaking of good guys, we got one of our sponsors with us. I saw his video online and I repurposed it. I shared it with our crowd as well. I just thought it'd be fun to have him on. Austin Watterson, special segment on the podcast today. My good friend Austin Watterson with roofbyroyal.com, Royal Roofing and Solar. Thanks for being here, number one. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's good to be back on again.
Austin, by the way, not only the best in roofing in the Kansas City area and beyond, as he'll talk about, I'm sure, but you may have noticed the logo for Royal is the king. So don't be shocked if he makes an appearance at the No Kings rallies over the weekend. What do you think?
Hey, we got a few of these, so I guess we can go out there and help out.
So this is your time of the year. I mean, obviously, we've got hail falling in the Kansas City area. We had massive hail not that long ago that went through a stretch of town. So this is the time that you need to get Austin and his team up on your roof. I would guess that your phone is ringing off the hook.
Yeah, it's been going crazy for us. So I'll sit down here. I know it's kind of tall in there, but I got a demo of our new product I was going to show you guys.
Yeah.
It's been crazy busy for us. So.
Well, let's talk about that because I saw a video where you did this. They've made so many great advances in roofing material, and it especially affects our area where we do get hail. So tell us about the advances and what you're going to show us here today.
Yeah, the big thing is the industry has to evolve, and it hasn't. And so the insurance companies are forcing the industry to evolve because, all honesty, we all want to blame State Farm and blame American Family, blame all the insurance companies. Well, there's also, they're looking out for the consumers too. And there's so many roofing companies. I mean, if, and this recent storm showed that if you lived within 5 hours of Kansas City, you were in Kansas City trying to sell roofs. I mean, there was 20, 30 guys on the same street knocking doors. I mean,
right.
People were ready. I mean, it was bad. I've never seen it that bad before. But deductibles have gotten higher. The way the policies have gotten, they put more back on the homeowners, and that's going to continue to get worse if the industry doesn't evolve a little bit.
Yeah.
And so what we've went from was, hey, Dale, let's get you a new roof. And if we get 10 years out of it, you'll wait for a hailstorm to come along, you'll get a new roof. So you got a $1,000 deductible, no big deal. So $1,000 every 10 years is a pretty good investment on a roof. Who cares how long the roof lasts? Well, now your deductibles that were $1,000 10 years ago are now $5,000.
I think mine's $6,000.
Yep. And that's a pretty normal 5 and 1% of the cost to rebuild a home on hail and wind. And so that is not sustainable for a homeowner to have to put a roof on again in 3 years or 10 years, because what's 10 years look like is going to be even worse. And now they are putting on a roof payment schedule, actual cash value on the roofs too. So not only you got a $5,000, $7,000 deductible, if you got a 10-year-old roof, they're going to take out another 40% and not pay out. We're seeing that a lot.
Well, you did the roof on my house, and I think it's going to be fine. It's going to take me through when I'm going to sell it, so that's good.
Yeah, we hope so. Yeah, we definitely. We obviously love roofing and continue to put roofs on, but we don't like to re-roof the same thing twice in a matter of a handful of years.
I get it.
So Tamco Building Products has come out with this new shingle. It's called HailGuard. It's less than 3 weeks old on the market. They've done some very, very high level testing on it where they've tested with 4-inch hail, but this actually carries a true hail warranty. No other product carries any type of warranty on it. It's just hail proof. They call it hail resistant. Nothing's hail proof. But Tamco's willing to back this product up to hail up to 3 inches. They're saying it's still going to function properly.
Okay.
And so now you get a 2.5-inch hailstorm, and it does damage your roof. Well, that goes back to the manufacturer. So now you don't have a deductible to pay if something does happen, you need a new roof. It's going to go back on the manufacturer. So if the roof's in great, and the idea is the roof's going to be in great shape and it's going to last, so it's a true 20-year non-depreciated warranty. Now, the caveat to that is not every contractor can install it with that warranty, because they're testing. The biggest thing is damaging the decking underneath of the shingle was failing before the shingles were. So they have very high expectations of installs to actually warranty the product properly.
All right.
And that's what a lot of people never know about, whether that 50-year warranty is not really worth anything that people talk about.
Well, show me how hail resistant these shingles are.
Yeah, we're getting a Billy Mays demonstration here.
The hammer time.
Billy Mays. So yeah, this shingle's actually I brought in from outside, and it's already activated and sealed down to this piece of decking. It's been in here. I brought in about 30 seconds before I got on with you guys.
Okay.
So it seals down really good. It has 160 mile an hour wind rating. But 3-inch hail, that hammer is not 3 inches. The head of the hammer is not 3 inches. But this is way more joules or whatever than a piece of hail is going to create.
Wow.
It didn't make any noise.
Silent hammer.
It was a silent hammer.
Yeah, it's great. What kind of hammer? How do we get that hammer?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's no impressions, but what's crazy is no granules.
Did you really hit it? Because there was no sound.
You didn't hear any of that?
None of that.
No, he's got
I thought you were joking.
No, he's got a noise gate on his computer.
Oh, okay.
With the hammer.
Well, I see it bouncing around, so you're definitely hitting it. So how's it look?
No, I mean,
because hail would not do that, right? Hail wouldn't hit that as hard as you hit it.
No, it won't. And the joules or what are that? I'm no engineer and never going to claim to be, but the guys behind this, they've done a really good job of making this product.
Yeah.
And they put a lot of science behind it. The adhesion, because everybody thinks, well, it's not thick enough. It's not a matter how thick something is to hold up, because the granule adhesion is 70% greater than a standard shingle.
Okay.
Now, these granules, which 3M makes pretty much the granules for everybody, but they have whatever their R&D does, they age these granules like 15 years before they even go on the product.
Okay.
So the UV, so if had all the UV damage, it can when it already goes on the granule, so you don't get a lot of that. They don't age like a lot of other shingles do.
Well, hey, while we have you here, I want to talk about one other thing here, and you talk about this a lot. As people are going door to door through this section of the country because of the hailstorms that we've had, you're always talking to me about the difference between W-2 employees, which you have, and 1099 employees, which it seems like every other roofing company has. What's the difference, and why does it make a difference?
So I don't like calling other people out. I know there's a lot of great people. One of the guys, we actually just had a guy fall off a roof doing an inspection and damage his foot, and he had to have surgery. Unfortunately, that happens. But 6 months ago, he was running his own company and had no insurance. And so luckily for him that this did happen when he was working for us. So our workers' comp does cover that, because the W-2, you have to carry workers' comp on all your employees.
Right.
1099, it's a misclassification. If I'm showing up with somebody's business card, I'm representing that company, but they're paying me as a subcontractor. That's not the right way of doing that, because if I have a company email, a business card, all that, I should be a W-2 employee. And we all hate the IRS, but that's how the IRS looks at it. But that's also how the Department of Workers' Comp, and I care about that more than the IRS part of it, is yes, people do the 1099 because they avoid paying taxes.
Gotcha.
But at the end of the day, I have families I have to answer to.
Right.
And so just in Mike's case, has 3 sons, a single dad with 3 sons. Well, he's taken care of with having all that, that I think his emergency room visit was, it was a lot of money just from that instance. So
yeah.
So that's where nobody knows when people say, oh, we got umbrella coverage for 1099. There's no such thing. Yeah, they get audited later on, but that's if you're avoiding doing that, trying to avoid paying workers' comp, paying all those things, that's actually talking to the Department of Workers' Comp, because with us having claims and understand that it's actually, they consider it fraud, workers' comp fraud, because you're avoiding paying workers' comp, and then you try to fall back later on, and they'll get you for it.
Well, you've put out what the question is that you should ask when people are going door to door, but the simple solution is to get Roof by Royal up on your roof for the inspection. Let Austin and his team put that new roof on there, and you can see that if a hammer can't damage that roof, a hailstorm is not going to. So, Austin, how can folks reach you to get that estimate, to get people up on your roof, and get that process started?
Yep. So, and a little bit more on this real quick is, yeah, off the shelf, this carries a 7-year hail warranty, but we're one of 3 people in Kansas City that can offer the 20-year warranty. So that's very helpful, calling us out for that reason, to see the product, because your roof's an investment now. It's no longer a commodity product waiting on insurance to cover it.
Yeah.
But yes, you can go to our website, roofbyroyal.com, and fill out a form, or you can reach out to us at 816-540-7057.
Great company. Fantastic guy. I appreciate your friendship and your partnership throughout all of this, and I'm sure you're going to have a lot of work to get to here.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys having us on.
All right, Austin. Have a great day, my friend. Again, we want to thank Austin Watterson and all the fine folks at Royal Roofing and Solar for being part of our podcast. He mentioned insurance quite a bit in that segment, and that dovetails nicely because Austin did the roof on my house, and my house is insured by State Farm, and my rep there, Bob Watson. They work hand in glove here. It's not like the old days. It's like roofers going door to door, and it's like, yeah, you got a ding, I can get you a new roof. It doesn't work that way anymore. Now you get the Cadillac of all roofs from Royal Roofing and Solar, and your rates on insurance go down. Bob Watson can show you how that is done. 816-229-7878, auto, home, life, commercial insurance, boats, licensed in Missouri and Kansas. If it's important enough to you to insure, you want State Farm. You want the best, like a good neighbor. State Farm, and my friend Bob Watson is there.
Tremendous people.
So as Florida increases their population, the growth of Florida right now is off the scale. Why do you think Florida is growing so much?
Well, it's got nice weather. It's got a lot of golf courses. It's got a lot of retirement communities, and it's expensive, but people that have made money and retired can go there and not pay income taxes. That's why.
State income tax. Yeah. They don't have a state income tax, and I think that
is... Yeah, but Delaware doesn't have a state income tax. Nobody is retiring in Delaware.
Yeah, they don't have the white sandy beaches that Florida does. Yeah. So that's right up there as well. DeSantis, in my view, has done an incredible job as a governor, and I think he'd make a great president. That's why I was touting him last time when Trump got elected. And I think DeSantis may well run again down the road. And the test for me was I went to Florida during COVID. Mm-hmm. My vacation every year that I take is first week of May, and I walked into a Walmart, and there were 2 big beefy guys outside the Walmart, and security guys, and they were both wearing masks. And I said, do I have to wear a mask in here? Because the mask mandate was going on at that time. And they said, you do you, whatever you want to do. I'm like, my God, I'm in the free state of Florida. You can do things here even during a pandemic. And I think that's why it's increasing. Plus, you've got these liberal states like California, like New York, that are taxing people to death. They can't afford it anymore. My neighbor put his house up for sale. And I saw him out in the driveway yesterday, and I said, oh, did my dogs finally run you off? Because Harry and Rafa, they love barking at his dogs. I mean, if his dog's out, they're up against the fence. He says, oh, no. My house payment keeps going up, and I just can't afford it. And it's the property tax thing that we're dealing with in Jackson County. Well, in the blue states like California and New York, it's on steroids. And New York's Governor Kathy Hochul, remember when she told people they could leave? Well, now she wants them to come back. And we have kind of like an A-B comparison of where she was and where she is today.
And we're here to say that the era of Trump and Zeldin and Molinaro, just jump on a bus and head down to Florida where you belong, okay? Get out of town. Get out of town. Because you don't represent our values. You are not New Yorkers.
But maybe the first step should be go down to Palm Beach and see who you can bring back home, because our tax base has been eroded. So I philosophically don't have a problem. It is like I have to look at the fact that we are in competition with other states who have less of a tax burden on their corporations and their individuals. And I would say remote work changed everything. There were people who could only work in an office in Manhattan or work in New York State, and they were captives to our state. They were going to stay. We've saw that that's not the case. I mean,
keyword captives. She said the quiet part out loud there.
You know, Wall Street businesses looking at Texas, they're not going there because they have a nicer governor. I know that for sure. But they're going there because of the tax rate. We have to be smart about this.
They're not smart about it. And policies matter. And you won't see Gavin Newsom do this because Gavin's so out of California. He doesn't want to wear that collar. He's going to have to if he's going to run for president, because if he runs against a guy like DeSantis, it's going to be an easy A-B comparison. Are you better off in California or Florida?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just repeat it again. Don't underestimate DeSantis. They had that thing. Remember, they had that DeSantis
and I think
Newsom thing.
Most people thought DeSantis cleaned his clock during that debate.
Yeah, but the people on the left thought it the other way around. So I mean, he's Newsom is very cunning. So don't underestimate him.
Is he a cunning linguist? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so just remember this before we leave you today. Socialism is great until you run out of other people's money. I can't take credit for that, but it is very true. Until next week, this is Dale Carter's America.
The views expressed on Dale Carter's America are Dale's and Kurt Wheeler's. They do not necessarily reflect the views of KFKF or Steel City Media. Comments can be sent to dalecartersamerica@gmail.com. Check back for weekly episodes. Subscribe, spread the word, and give us a 5-star review. Thanks for being a part of Dale Carter's America.